Are you ready?
Good news, everyone!
I'm the surprise in your cereal box. I'm
great! Everybody else sucks!
I said, are you ready?
Yes, sir, random kid I just met.
It's Ciely.
Hooray! People are paying attention to me.
That's right! You're always blaming me!
So, my reputation exceeds me.
It's time to check the link.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
You know what? You just made the list.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time.
Really?
No, burn.
What is up, you ducks? I actually hear the dogs in the background. It is All in Football on FTN Network. Yes, the fiance's dog is here, by the way. She's out with appointments with the daughter. That is the noise you might hear a few times as they continue to play in the background. But we're going to get you ready for Week 15 ranks. As Meaney has seen, there is no schedule for today's show, but he's a gamer. I know he's got this handled, mostly because this is going to trip me out the entire time. I was at an MRI for my neck, so hopefully that's all that well. It just pinched out potentially. Nothing super serious, hopefully. But the other reason is it's Week 15. I kind of feel like at this point, maybe we just kind of like go game by game because we might be able to skip some stuff and then people can skip when they're listening and stuff like that. I try to pick out the biggest names, but break it up a little bit differently. Plus, I know you're ready for it. But just make sure you check out Chris Meaney at FTN. Code all in, get you 20% off. Hockey, the Rangers have figured out how to play again. And then, there you go. And Carlos Correa's the rich man.
Oh my goodness. 13 years? Are they just going to wheel out wheelchairs for these guys in their final 2 years? It's remarkable. Baseball's crazy.
I know. It's like, I guess if you have to get them at this point, but hey, look, people are pitching into their 40s. Maybe they keep playing until Tom Brady ruined everything. That's what it was.
He did, yeah.
Actually, you know what? Before we even get to the game by game, no, we're just going to spend 45 minutes, Chris, and let's just talk about the fact that Jeff Driskel's tight end eligible on Yahoo. So
I was looking at him last night. Not gonna lie. Like, do I want to roll out this guy over Dulcich? What do I do here? I'm like, I'm just gonna leave him alone. But yeah, tight end eligible on Yahoo.
Let's hit this up. I came at Andy Behrens on Twitter as a joke because I know how much he hates when people complain about eligibility on any of the sites because he has nothing to do with it. And the funny thing was, is I cursed myself really because I even answered. I even put it in the comments. I even put it as the sleeper. He's essentially Taysom Hill. He's a little bit higher than Taysom Hill because they're actually giving him regular passing snaps. So the floor is a little bit higher, but I mean, you're still talking about the same variability. He needs to throw a touchdown. So he's Taysom Hill. You want to start him over Bellinger, who's probably not even playing this week? Go right ahead. But that's the point. You play him over Logan Thomas? Go right ahead. But you're not playing him over the big names. The funny thing is I cursed myself in the fact that there was 8 questions in the ranks this week asking me about where would you rank Jeff Driskel if he's at tight end?
Somebody asked me that yesterday too on Mean Streets, and I honestly had no idea. I just felt like you weren't playing this guy with the potential of Darren Waller and Dallas Goedert coming back too. That maybe those guys were hanging around waiver wires, or maybe you're fine at the tight end position. But I don't know, man. I didn't rank them. I would probably put him up at the 20 mark around Conklin. I'd probably play him over Logan Thomas and Hurst and things like that. Yes. But I don't know. Let's not get too cute here in your quarterfinal matchup because of Jeff Driskel has tight end eligibility on. I mean, he may not even see a snap. It's possible he doesn't. I assume he gets in there a little bit. But
I mean, they said 50-50. He said he's going to continue doing it. So I mean,
yeah, but I still don't believe it.
It's been a while, Chris. It's been a while since we've. By the way, hey, we're talking tight end. Let's just do it off the top. Might as well knock it out. Might as well do. We got to do it at least 2 or 3, 4 or 5 times a year.
There's something we haven't done in a long time.
Yeah, we need to make a list.
Let's go. Let's make one. Let's do it.
Top 10.
Evan
let's
Ingram,
just go.
He's near the top of that.
No, I was gonna go Kelsey, Kittle, Hawk, Goddard, if plays, obviously. If this is the question I put out there, I even said this on Twitter. Before you even ask, Goddard and Waller come back, just play him. It's tight end. And the only thing somebody's like, well, what if I had Njoku? And I was like, all right, I would go Goddard, Njoku, Waller. But that's about it. So Goddard, Schultz, Njoku, Freiermuth, if he plays. Mark Andrews, I have down at 8. Evan Ingram, Dulcich you just mentioned, Darren Waller, if he plays, Gerald Everett is fine.
Yeah.
I think that's now where we start having a conversation. Cole Kmet against your Eagles or Jeff Driskel?
I would play Cole Kmet. I still feel like the Eagles are a tough team to throw in the wide receivers. You know what I mean? Like this year, I think the numbers are screwed. Oh, they've given up the 4th fewest fantasy points to tight ends. I think you have to throw that out the window and look at what tight ends they played. You get 2 really good corners, and Fields' number 1 target's probably going to be Cole Kmet. So I go Cole Kmet.
Okay. I could see going the upside of Driskel. Like that's kind of my breaking point. So Driskel or Okonkwo?
Nkonkwo. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm riding this out with him. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad everybody's now on board. I actually even said, you know Scott Pianowski. I tweeted that after he scored his touchdown on Sunday. I was like, I'm just waiting for the Scott Pianowski tweet of like, you know who liked Okonkwo this week? Everybody, because then people always take the victory laps, and it was like everybody was talking up Okonkwo.
Yeah, he was
Dawson Knox against Miami.
This is a good one. I still think I would lean Dawson Knox slightly. It sounds like some bad weather again in Buffalo. But I still think I would lead. Yeah, I'd lead Knox, I think.
I want some real snow. I want a snow game. I don't want that little flurry crap I guess it was a little bit more than
I think
flurries,
you're going to get it.
I want some snow on the ground. Okay, so then Hunter Henry.
I'm still going to go Henry. Yeah, he did. Yes, Arizona, right? It was Arizona. Now it's the Raiders.
It was there for the taking. Yeah,
it was. No Parker, maybe no Jacoby. Like if those guys are out, I think I'd play Hunter.
Hurst, Hayden Hurst, Helmsley, with no. Here's how I'm going to preface it: with no T Higgins. Would you go Hurst or Driskel? Because in that case, I go Hurst.
Yeah, if there's no T, if this guy's ruled out, he's not playing.
Hurst is also questionable though too.
He is questionable. I was gonna say no when you brought him up, but there's also a possibility that Tyler Boyd doesn't play. Like a possibility. I think he does suit up, but if those guys are both,
really? I thought it sounded the other way around. I thought Tyler Boyd was definitively out.
Oh well, then if he's definitively out, then fine. I thought he call him day to day, but.
Oh, I thought from the sound of it, it sounded like Tyler Boyd was like a good.
Then I would go Hurst.
2 weeks potentially, at least one. Okay, Taysom Hill or Jeff Driskel. There we go.
Taysom Hill. I guess I'm not playing Driskel. I guess that's what I found out with this list.
That's what you find out. Yeah, you have, like you said, you have him all the way down at 20. I'll give you the same answer I gave everybody else. After we got to Darren Waller, maybe Gerald Everett, do whatever the hell you want. It's tight end.
Yeah.
Chase whatever you want to chase. Whatever reason you have, it doesn't matter. It's tight end. This is why I keep saying wide receiver / tight end, even with the full slate, because we can't even get 12 guarantees like, you got to start this tight end. No, we started having the Jeff Driskel conversation before we even got through him.
It's crazy. You brought it up on Monday with the percentage of points, and I did it. I know you.
Oh, and the Evan Ingram
tweeted me yesterday when Evan Ingram just finishing as a top 4 tight end, and just off like, I mean, he's been okay, but let's be honest. I mean, a big chunk of his fantasy performance came last week, and he's a top 5 tight end. That just tells you everything.
I still remember 30% of receptions, or wait, was it 30-something percentage of his receptions? It was like 30% of his yards. Half of his touchdowns, and then like targets were in there or something. I don't even remember. Who the hell cares? So let's talk about this game by game. Thursday Night Football. If you're listening to this on Friday, you can skip this part. It's probably going to take about 2 minutes, maybe 3. So San Francisco at Seattle. We know what to do on the San Francisco side. This is why I'm kind of going to run through these games, because Brock Purdy plays. You're fine. Ayuk and Kittle with no Debo. By the way, Kittle better come through. I already told Pat he's my captain on Thursday Night Football. Like, he better show up against Seattle and come through big. The backfield, we know. It's the Seattle side we have questions about. Geno Smith, how concerned are you if he's your quarterback? I mean, are we going to go start getting down this ranks of thinking Taylor Heineke versus Geno Smith kind of conversation?
Yeah, I wouldn't do Heineke. I am a little worried about Geno. I mean, the Niners defense is legit. 4 straight games where they didn't allow a point in the fourth quarter, then the Saints, and then what they did to Tua. Tua had looked flustered for the first time all season long. And then last week, against Tom Brady and the Bucs, it just seems like an absolute. I mean, it is. It's an absolute legit defense. So I do have some concerns. I have them ranked at 12. I guess the only guys that would play over him, I would obviously play Fields, Dak, Cousins. Tua's in a tough spot too. I had a battle with myself. My projections, I had Tua slightly ahead of Geno.
Tua? Okay, how about Trevor Lawrence against Dallas?
I'll play Trevor Lawrence too.
Okay.
I'll play Trevor Lawrence, yeah.
Geno Smith or Aaron Rodgers? He's got his.
That's probably where I draw
arsenal.
the line. I know Rodgers.
back.
Rodgers has been okay lately, and the Rams are checked out. Dobbs is expected back. It's probably where I draw the line.
Still
but
no,
I could see
still no Aaron
people-
Darnold. Aaron Donald. God, I always it's like that. That's that.
I do that
tongue
too. Yeah,
We know his name. It's just it's the way his name is. It's like the R carries over somehow.
I know. I do that too. I've done that a lot. And Arnold Palmer messes me up a lot too. I have to really slow down when I say that.
So you don't ever.
I think I would go
Arnold
Gino.
Okay.
Arnold Palmer.
If Ken Walker suits up.
Oh man, this is tough.
So I ranked him as if he would play because I had a lot. Like I said, I have Goddard in there, I have Waller in there, I have Ken Walker in there, I have Damian Harris and Ron Stevenson. This is all like, look, everybody's playing. This is because like it's not what the questions like. If they play, where would they be? But then I still get the questions of like, well, what if they don't play? Where would this person be? You can't win. So
No.
I'm saying off to say I have Ken Walker at 23 because it's a short week. We didn't sound close last week. We saw him on the sidelines when this all happened, and he's facing the 49ers. Here's who's in front of him. Here's who's directly behind him. Where do you disagree? Potentially just straight up agree, Chris. J.K. Dobbins, 19. ETN, 20. Zonovan, 21. Najee Harris, 22. Walker, 23. Mostert, Brian Robinson, Latavius, Cam Akers, all right behind him. Does that sound like a fair spot?
It does, yeah. I may even lean. I'd probably play
Don't say
Robinson
Cam
over
Akers.
him.
Don't say Cam Akers.
Your boy Cam. Listen, he's been pretty good lately, but
I know.
I'd probably play.
Do you know where Cam Akers is the past 2 weeks? Do you know where he ranks?
Probably is a top 15 back, I would say.
It's RB10.
Better? RB10?
The past
Consolation
2 weeks.
brackets, you and I.
I know. I
Maybe.
tweeted that out yesterday. And somebody was like, "Consolation brackets? How sad are you, buddy?" I'm like, "It was a joke." Like,
It'd be the second title I win because of Cam Akers. Second consolation title I win in his 3 years in the NFL. His rookie year, I was all over him too.
Jiggles and Sean knew that he was RB10.
Yeah. RB10, all over it. Yeah, check the link. They're all over it. I'd play Robinson Jr. over him against your Giants. I've been really impressed with him.
I could see that. That's the thing is that's where I'm having the conversation about Ken Walker. I think this is the group he deserves to be in. And like these are the tiered running backs. I wish I could get the tiers back, but this is kind of like where he is. Like honestly, Ken Walker in the same tier with Cam Akers. I mean, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, and you know that I feel like the Rams will. I know last week was a big Baker show, but ultimately I feel like they kind of lean on the run when Baker's under center. I don't know if they just let him buck and chuck 45 times, but I don't think Walker's going to play. I know we're speculating here on Wednesday and it's tomorrow, but
well, so that's where I'm going to go with this. Travis Homer. By the way, there was 2 running backs in week 14 who had over 90% of the snaps. James Conner and Travis Homer.
Unbelievable. And Homer didn't.
And I'm so glad here. Look, this is where I was completely wrong, but ended up being right. So you can be both. I was all over Homer. I was like, hey, Homer as the lead, I think he's a top 20 running back this week, especially with the 6 teams on a bye. That stupid news, which didn't matter, about Tony Jones being the heavy carries, what's a heavy carry anyway? Do they give you like a ball with lead in it? I don't know. But I moved him down, and I moved him down to like the mid to low 20s because of that news. Like he was like 28 or somewhere right around there, which I was right about more of that, but I was still wrong because if you would have told me, hey, he's going to get 90% of the snaps, I'd be like, RB 18? Like, because it was such a good matchup. So do you even play? There's no way you can put your playoff hopes on Travis Homer against San Francisco, right?
I hope not. I had to play him last week, and it's I don't have a better scenario this week. AJ Dillon's coming off bye, and I don't know if Ramondre is going to play, so I may have to play him, or we get into the Texans' backfield later. It's not a good spot.
That's exactly where I was going to go. I was going to say Rex Burkhead or Travis Homer, and I'm taking Rex Burkhead.
Yeah, and even Dare is in the back of my mind too. We had a fun little conversation in our FTN
Dare,
Slack.
get it right.
Yeah, I call him Dare season. We had some fun yesterday in the FTN Slack. I brought him up, and Ratcliffe, of course, shut it all down just immediately.
I saw that.
I said, yeah.
It's like pages. I'm like, what the hell is going on in the Slack? There's like this rage about Burkhead.
Yeah, Kevin randomly said something about a quarterback, which quarterback to play. I don't know. And then selfishly, I wanted to know who had the better chance of getting 5 points, Dare or Rex Burkhead in a full point PPR league.
Oh, 5 points. I would take Burkhead too.
I would just said like neither of these guys are going to be great. And Jeff was just like, listen, if you have to rely on either one of these Texans running backs, you're screwed. And I was just like, man, my base is pretty solid. Like I got a good team around, and everyone's in these tough situations, and they got to play a guy.
I'm in one league. The first place team just lost Ken Walker. Now just lost Damian Pierce.
I think got to play a guy.
Still has the third running back, and I think his third running back is like Brian Robinson or somebody in that range. But the next running back is like, now we're talking about this range. Like, not everybody can sit there and be like, you're screwed. No. I mean, he's still got great wide receivers. He's probably going to be okay. But I agree with Brett. He says P. Ryan over Homer. I mean, that's kind of like where I think Homer starts to fall. Like, you could say Gus Edwards over Homer. I think the point being is you don't want to start the Seattle running backs without Ken Walker. You don't want to start the Houston Texans running backs, but people out there might have to do this.
You might have to. You just hope that you have he's not going to be the guy that you're relying on. You got here for a reason. You obviously have some studs. For example, like, no one cares about my team, but I'm fine at quarterback. I got a couple solid wide receivers. My RB1 is good. I'm hoping that my guy that I chuck in gets 5 points. As for Homer, I mean, last week the game got out of hand right away. They were down immediately. They were down a touchdown. Geno threw a pick. All of a sudden they were down 2 scores. So Homer's on the field a lot, but he's not getting a ton of carries. Is that going to be a similar situation against San Fran? We've seen multiple teams who have been good at running the ball not even try to run the ball against them.
If this season has told us anything, or given us a lesson on anything, Seattle's going to win this game 42-0. Like that's what that's what the season is. They're just going to run roughshod over them.
Yeah, I think if you're in a PPR league and you did lose some of those running backs that you mentioned, and you are battling with yourself between Homer and maybe one of the Texans, maybe you play Homer and you hope that he catches 5 or 6 passes. I mean, that is best case scenario for sure.
So for
ultimately, this guy's only going to get 7 or 8 points.
That I promised to listen to Thursday Night Football is like they're just gonna be like they're gonna fast forward. I thought Thursday Night Football was, but we tied in a lot of other conversations.
We did.
Yeah. This is why the game by game never really worked that well. Is because all these other people get brought in. By the way, if you're listening and not watching on YouTube, which you can go watch on YouTube, subscribe and rate. You can't see it, so you see how it's a tape deck.
What you got over there?
And I'll see if you can figure this out. He's got a pen that's red.
iPad. Yeah.
No, it's an iPod Shuffle from back in the day. Okay. Can you guess what's being said above them? If you can see what's going on here, can you guess?
No, I can't. My monitor in front of me is too dark.
He says, "I am your father," and the iPod Shuffle is going, "No."
Another good one. Always impressive with these T-shirts. Yeah, that one's got inside your fan. No, I am your father.
I don't know. There's so many at this point. So
you have to make
let's
a list
get to
T-shirts.
Saturday. Maybe I have to do that. A top 10 list of my T-shirts one day. That would take a lot of work.
Down.
Saturday, reminder. It's like Thanksgiving. There's 3 games, 1, 4, and 8, 15. Indianapolis at Minnesota. Pittman, Jonathan Taylor. Look, you know everybody on all these teams. You could take a flyer on Alec Pierce or Paris Campbell. I go Pierce a little bit over Campbell just because at this point in the season, they're completely out. For a reminder, also, Paris Campbell's already a free agent. Yes, he's already been in the league for 4 years. They have no reason not to evaluate Alec Pierce as their potential number 2, which I think. But the question comes down to this:
out of the box.
Pat Mayo is starting Matt Ryan in one of his leagues. Would you do the same against Minnesota?
Again, context. In a single quarterback league, I'm hoping there's better options out there. Like I would start Huntley probably over him. It sounds like he's good to go. But yeah, I mean the Vikings have allowed 300 yards in 7 of their last 8 to quarterbacks. It's a really good spot. So I understand it as a super flex. I mean, I lost Kyler in your flex league. If he was out there, I'd be so thrilled.
Damn it.
But he's not.
I keep forgetting to put the Taylor Heineke jersey over top of him. Damn it.
Oh, yeah. Somebody commented on that. On Kyler. I mean, I don't expect a whole lot from him. I think I got him ranked like 21, 22, Matt Ryan.
Okay. That's just how risky you would get, because let's talk about this. Baltimore at Cleveland. Would you start Matt Ryan over Deshaun Watson, or would you go Deshaun Watson?
No. I would go Deshaun Watson.
Even without
a little
risk?
bit better. Game number 3 now. Better weapons.
Well, let me push back on the other direction and say this.
Okay.
He's been rusty so far. I mean, shook some of it off, but maybe 20%. I mean, there's a little bit that clipped off last week, but I don't know if he's fully shiny yet. We haven't just sanded it all off. But Baltimore's defense, 1, it's been really good. 2, it doesn't matter if it's Huntley or Brown. They're going to run the ball 40 times. Like, there's just not a lot here for Deshaun Watson potentially. So did that?
Colts are going to do the same too. Like Jonathan Taylor's going to get 22 carries.
Yeah, but it's Minnesota. In Minnesota. I could see Matt Ryan throwing the ball 40 times just to...
Maybe. I
can't
I mean, the matchup is set up for him to do that. Nah, I don't think so. I mean, it's close. These guys are right tight in my projections, but I'm going to take the guy who I think has the higher ceiling.
Which is, for me, Matt Ryan. I actually have Matt Ryan one spot in front of Deshaun Watson.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'll put my quarterfinal match.
He's definitely got
the
lower floor. Oh, yeah. So... J.K. Dobbins, is he fully back in our graces as top 20 running back? Because you heard where I put him. He is inside the top 20. That we talked about on Monday. I don't know how he got 120 yards because that leg did not look 100%.
I know.
But he's going against Cleveland. You can start both of them, right?
Yeah, I think so. I would definitely start him. A lot of people probably a little hesitant to start him last week, myself included, but the matchup is really nice. There was a report that came out that said he's not fully over the injury, and I think that's fair. We can all agree that that's probably a correct report, especially because he got caught on that touchdown run that he probably would have had. I mean, it wasn't a touchdown. He got caught near the goal line, but yeah, great matchup. Backup quarterback, run first team. Even if he only gets 15 carries, I like it against that defense.
Okay. All right. And then for Baltimore, you heard where I had Mark Andrews. Is 8 too high?
Oh, wow.
Is that
too high?
Fair.
I think it's actually fair. I got him at
Would you start
6.
Darren Waller returning or Mark Andrews? Serious question.
Serious questions that people probably have. I would go Mark Andrews. I would go Mark Andrews just because we haven't seen Waller in a long, long time. I don't know. He came out with a hip hop single today. I think I saw that on Twitter. He's feeling himself.
He had a hip hop single,
like a track. You ever hear him rap?
I heard you correctly. I thought maybe I misheard you when you were saying his.
Oh no, you heard me correctly. No. He had a music video and everything. I saw this morning. Darren Waller. Yeah, he's ready to go.
All right. Well,
I don't know. It is Bill Belichick and the Pats. He's been playing a long time. He hasn't really done anything this year when he was playing. So.
We did get a donation to answer a question, so we have to answer the question. This goes straight to Chris Meaney's pocket, not mine, just so you know.
More like Kevin's pocket.
All right. So one flex, one running back, Rashad White, J.K. Dobbins are the running backs. Mike Evans, Elijah Moore, Josh Palmer, and Njoku and Everett. So one flex, if you don't have to, if you're starting tight end, it's Njoku over Everett, but tight ends are irrelevant if you have a flex spot. So J.K. Dobbins over Rashad White, agree?
Yes.
Okay. Then so it comes down to, would you go Rashad White, Mike Evans, Elijah Moore, not Josh Palmer, because Josh Palmer is now irrelevant unless Mike Williams gets hurt again. So do you go the safety of Rashad White, or do you go the upside of Mike Evans or Elijah Moore? And yes, everybody's saying check the link. I appreciate it.
I know.
But I can't ignore the donation of the money. Like that's kind of like obligated.
No, we love you. You may want to spend $4.99 and check the link. You'll get it for like $2 years.
$2 for an entire month.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd take the upside in Mike Evans, honestly. Rashad White does look a lot better. Leonard Fournette, it seems toast. The only thing I think you're getting for Fournette is catches. But White will probably, I think he's a little bit safer. Don't you agree? He probably gets like another 10, 12 carries on the ground. Maybe he catches 4 or 5 passes. But I'm shooting for the upside here. I think we'll see the Bucs offense bounce back a little bit. It should be a fun game against the Bengals. I'm going to take Mike Evans.
All right. Who, by the way, I mentioned it. We talked about it Monday, too. Is like touchdown, called back, another touchdown, Tom Brady pulled to Sam Darnold. Could have had it. So
it's a massive touchdown, wasn't it? It was just like a 60-yard touchdown at the house, roughly. Yeah.
So 2 advice pieces as the playoffs are here. One is, first of all, don't start overthinking. Like, this is what everybody does now at this point, is they sit there and stare at one position decision, and they overanalyze. What if this, and what if this, and what if this, and what if this, and you end up creating one of those books where it's like flip to page 43. But if this, now go back to page 7. Now go back, and but you're driving yourself mad. So don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Trust your studs, but to a degree, you can if you wanted to sit Mike Evans for somebody who has been producing, it's not just 1 week for Mike Evans. I understand it. So I don't bench studs, but Mike Evans is not really a stud anymore.
No,
So-
I get the question, right? Elijah Moore's got a couple decent weeks in a row, like against Detroit. I totally understand the question, but for me personally, like I know he's not a wide receiver one where you drafted him, and he did have some wide receiver one weeks. I think you said it perfectly. Just I'm playing the guy who's better, the higher ceiling, and he could win you the week alone on his upside.
Well, look at White versus Fournette. People say start your studs. Fournette's not a stud anymore, and Fournette's not the one who got you here. So it's like, and then the other part of it is where this kind of question comes into play of White versus Evans. Is I tell people all this time is evaluate your own roster. 100, like, don't look at your. You can look at your opponent because you can look at your opponent to the degree of saying, "Oh my gosh, my opponent has Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, and then at wide receiver they have like 2 in the top 20 and a top 30. Like, I need a big week." Yeah. That's fine. Don't look at the projections. The sites are as wildly off as anything else. That's where I say don't look at. So look at your own team and evaluate. So if you say, look, I know my team's good. I just need points. Rashad White, the running back. If you're like, man, I'm behind. I'm the 6th seed. I'm going to probably need a blow-up game. Then that's where you go for like a Mike Evans.
Yeah, don't look at your projections, especially if you're on NFL.com league. It's like Madden on rookie. Everyone is projected to get like 45 points. Like,
billion
it's wild.
points.
I never understand it. It's like how it's like dudes are on the waiver wire and they're projected to get like 22 points. I'm like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. They're not even going to touch the field. It's crazy here.
Shout out to Mike Florio and good friend Marcus Grant over at NFL.
Of course,
they have
those
nothing
guys
to do
are
with the projections.
fantastic. They understand it too. Like they don't make the projections. So
Miami and Buffalo. Do you like Tyreek Hill is just a star? That's one. Don't bet your studs. I don't care that his ankle got nicked up. If he plays, you gotta play him. It's similar. Look, you can make the argument. You can sit here and tell Chris and I, and you can say, "Hey, look, I didn't want to start Saquon Barkley last week, and I didn't, and it worked out fine." But can you live with the potential that he's still Saquon Barkley? Can you live with the potential that he's still Tyreek Hill? And then you watch those 25 points on your bench. That's your decision. I'm not going to bench a Tyreek Hill. I'm not benching anybody inside the top 10, basically, at either position. And that's what he is. So the question isn't about Tyreek Hill for me. For Chris, it's, do we play Jalen Waddle? Jalen Waddle's been a lot. Honestly, if you looked at their game logs and you said Gabe Davis and Jalen Waddle and pulled off the jerseys, there's not a huge difference. There's a little bit more boom for Waddle than bust for Gabe Davis, but it's been pretty hit and miss. Mike Evans, basically. Jalen Waddle's been in that conversation.
Yeah, couple dud games in a row.
But
I still think I play him. This is the lowest I've had him ranked in quite some time. Yeah, in Buffalo.
Snow?
If there's snow in that weather, if it's like last week, then I would look for another option.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, a borderline option like Christian Watson is a guy that maybe you picked up lately and you've been riding him. Like that's a guy I would play over Waddle. And it does sound like there's going to be some nasty weather again in Buffalo.
Would you go? Here's one: Darius Slayton against Washington or Jalen Waddle in the snow?
No, I'd play Waddle.
You just hesitated.
Of course I did. I'm thinking about it. But
yes,
I'm playing Waddle. I'm not going to get
on
too cute.
The Buffalo side, if you're in the playoffs, I sat here on Monday and told everybody to go take a long walk off Short Bridge for the James Cook people. Like, screw you guys, I'm going home. So if you somehow made your playoffs, is there any possible way on earth that you start Devin Singletary or James Cook, or are they in the Houston Texans conversation?
I'd start Singletary. I wouldn't start Cook. I wouldn't start Gabe Davis. Like, those are two guys. I'm really limited on Buffalo right now. This offense does not look good at all. It hasn't looked good for weeks. We just talked about the potential weather. You're starting Josh Allen. You're starting Stephon Diggs. And other than that, I think you could, look elsewhere. We talked about Knox. We were talking about Driskel and Knox. I don't know, man. I'm definitely not starting Cook. There's no chance you can start that guy. If he goes off, you pull your hair out and you're just like, oh my goodness. Like I started him last week and he didn't do anything. I started him this week and he did things. Like that's what you're gonna get, I think, with this backfield. So Singletary low end RB2. We talked about on Monday. Low end RB2.
This has nothing to do with fantasy, and I think you'll be able to see, but they're done playing. I'm gonna turn the camera to see. Can you get it? Can you see that?
It
just cut off. It just cut off. I was seeing if you could see. Like, she's passed that, like, legitimately just passed out on, like, the freaking screen is right in the way. I was trying to see.
Well, they went hardcore for a good 25 minutes, maybe even before the show. Now they're just relaxing.
All right, so your Eagles head to Chicago. We know what to do with your Eagles. On the Chicago side of things, speaking of not benching your studs. Somebody asked me at The Athletic, asking fantasy advice, and so they said, would you start Justin Fields and I forget what the other one, but it's a mid-level quarterback. It's like, no, you didn't get here to bench Justin Fields. You didn't get this far against the Eagles to bench Justin Fields. No, even Daniel Jones was able to have somewhat of a game. No way on earth. You're not benching David Montgomery. But you said Cole, do you touch any of the wide receivers? Anybody I should got? Okay, no. So just
I wouldn't touch any wide receiver. And I just feel like Cole Kmet, and last year the Eagles gave up the second most fantasy points to tight ends. They really struggled to cover the position. This year they haven't played too many good tight ends. But when I look at that team, I still feel like they're a team that does struggle to cover the middle of the field. I mean, you have the two corners on the wide receivers. You're down to like your third string safety now, potentially. So, I mean, who's Fields going to throw the football to? I mean, he's not going to throw the football to Economia St. Brown if Darius Slay's on him, and he's not going to throw to Chase Claypool. I mean, he probably will try to throw to Chase Claypool, I would imagine. But I'd say Cole Kmet is his. Yeah, I'd say Cole Kmet maybe gets about 7 or 8
You have all the options in this week, so you don't need to turn there. So let's talk about somewhere you might need to turn. I'm really excited to talk about this one. Desmond Ridder, NFL debut against the Saints, who are getting pieces back by the week. Still no certainty on Lattimore. May not even coming back this year. He might be pulling the Michael Thomas at this point.
He might be.
Or I guess Michael Thomas twice over. He's probably like, to me, Michael Thomas 2023 is going to be an interesting offseason conversation.
Oh, man,
for everybody out there who hasn't checked the link, and for everybody out there that didn't see what I was talking about in waivers and last week with Desmond Ridder, the comparison I made is safer passing Daniel Jones, because he can run, but he's not going to be Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields. If you gave him a full season, Desmond Ridder will run, but he's not going to be running for 800, 900, 1,000. He's actually a pocket passer, similar to Daniel Jones, who will run. That's the upside here that I like about Ridder, and I think he's a smarter passer than Daniel Jones. Was super consistent in college. Everybody talks about the consistency of the quarterbacks coming out of college. He was consistent as it gets. Problem is, it's the Atlanta offense. They will run first. It's Cordero Patterson, Tyler Algier, and then the passing game. Yeah. How far do you go to start Desmond Ridder? Is he just not even in the world of the conversation for you? Or because I put him as like you need the Hail Mary play, maybe he gets you a Justin Fields type of game of 220 a touchdown and then 40 and a touch on the ground.
I got him at 23.
Okay. That's in the realm of like, hey, I just need the upside.
Yeah, I got him in around like
him or Huntley,
Carr and Goff, and I'd probably play Huntley, just because even before yesterday, I looked back at Huntley's he played 5 games last year, and he had 40 rushing yards in each of them. He had 40 rushing yards in the game that he came in for Lamar Jackson. There just seems to be a little bit of a floor there. The ceiling doesn't seem to be high, but at least there's that. He
also
safety.
Averaged 10 targets a game to Mark Andrews. How'd that work out last week?
Yeah, not great at all. Maybe you can finally link up with him, but this will be the Andrews game. You know it. You know it will.
Oh, 100%. I'm waiting for the DraftKings lineup where on Saturday that somebody put them, and he's got 102 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting.
100%. Yeah. But I mean, what do you do? Do you? We talk about Goff, right? Goff is in a really tough spot on the road against.
I am not starting Goff. No,
I wouldn't start Goff either.
One touchdown outdoors. The Jets defense, for you, just for reference. Jared Goff is behind Derek Carr, and I would play Mac Jones before I played Jared Goff.
I think I would too. Yeah, against the Raiders, absolutely.
Jared Goff's in the conversation for me with Baker Mayfield and Andy Dalton in my ranks.
Yep, it's not a good week for him. I understand he got you here. Now
watch Jared Goff throw 3 touchdowns.
He might throw one. He might throw like one bomb or something. It's possible. You may have to start him as your number 2 in a super flex. I know that I do, but I'm not excited about him. I got him in the low 20s as well. Then number 2.
So, we don't need to talk about Saints. You know what to do there. Detroit, the only question here, we just answered it. You start Amon-Ra St. Brown and no wide receivers. Maybe you have to start Hopkins. I don't think I would. I've been Chark guy. Like, not guy. Like, there's plenty of them. But I've been recommending Chark, and I don't like him against the Jets outdoors. There's the easy answer to the backfield. If DeAndre Swift's not on the injury report, you start him. If he's on the injury report, you don't start any. Done. Yeah. Right? Move on. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's
just move on. Like, Swift flex at best.
However, on the Jet side, unless they make the switch to Zach Wilson, which isn't going to sound like it's going to happen, maybe unless it's in game and Mike White is not 100%. So we know what to start there. Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, if you need a deeper play, Zonovan Knight, Michael Carter, deeper play. Pittsburgh, we know at this point. Carolina, cha-cha-cha. Deonta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, both. Would you start both before you touch the backfield of the Texans?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. Foreman first, still for me. I know Chuba got some play on. Still Foreman first.
Would you start both over the Singletary call?
No, I would start Singletary over Chuba Hubbard.
Okay.
Not over Foreman.
But not over Foreman. Okay.
No.
So Carolina, if DJ Moore plays, if he doesn't, Terrace
Nobody.
Marshall, go for it. Like, I mean, Pittsburgh's been playing better, but they're still vulnerable, so that's where you go.
They are still, but yeah.
Dallas, the answer has been and continues to be just start both running backs. Very simple. CeeDee Lamb, maybe Michael Gallup if you need a deep play against Jacksonville. Better matchup this week where hopefully Jacksonville can stay in contention. And that's my question to you. Do they stay in contention enough not to just start Trevor Lawrence, which we already covered earlier when Thursday Night Football lasted 10 minutes? But it's the big question here is you heard where I have Travis Etienne. Is 20... Is it just the answer is 20 is not the right answer? Is it he's either too high or too low? Like 20 is just not right?
I think it's I mean, I think it's a fair ranking. I have him at 23. I'm a little hesitant to start him. I don't know. Like
it's all the volume, but zero production.
Good. Yeah, zero production. Earlier in the year, you could run on Dallas, but you look at some of their numbers, and they have held some running backs to some pretty dud performances of late. It's just not the same Travis Etienne. It just isn't. Whether you think it's a foot, it's not even the same type of volume. It's starting running back volume. Like he's getting the first and second down opportunities, but he hasn't been efficient with those carries. And I think you can go a lot of different places with him. Like I'd be starting Bam, right? Bam Knight. I'm starting that guy over him.
J.K. Dobbins.
Let's see. J.K. Dobbins was starting over him. Okay. You mentioned Montgomery. Like that's not even a question to me. I'm starting Montgomery over him. I may even go Mostert if there's no Jeff Wilson. If that's confirmed, I may even do that. And it's close. That's kind of where I draw the line.
Oh my gosh. I am so with you on that one, which just makes it feel like Savon Ahmed and somebody else is going to get involved. I know. But either if the gas
Etienne's
can or...
Etienne's not even really catching any passes, is he? Is he? Because this spread is not significant. I thought it would be a little... I think it opened up at 5.5, 6, and then it went to 4.5. He had 0 catches last week. He had 3 the week before for 12 yards.
Recency bias.
He's healthy. Well, you think he'd be fine then?
No. I meant recency bias on the Jacksonville side, pulling the spread closer.
Oh yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Like I know Trevor Lawrence was my top breakout quarterback along with Justin Fields. Called a lot of those. I missed.
Crush it. And both of them hit. That's awesome.
I'm not gonna call the ones that I missed. You can go check the link for that one.
Whatever.
It can't be perfect.
Well, those were 2 big ones. Like the next 2 to take that leap forward, right? Like the Jalen Hurts.
Mac Jones was 5th
previous year.
But I mean, you're talking quarterbacks. You're trying to find because you can't. My definition of breakout is you can't be a rookie because there's nothing to break out from.
I agree with you.
So, but some people don't, and I can see the argument for it. And then I said you can't have already broken out, which for me, I said if I had my pick, we had this conversation. I said if there's anybody who could unseat the number 1 spot, it was Jalen Hurts, but he already broke out last year, so I was going to be like he's going to break out again.
Yeah.
Like he's going to break out.
It's one of my
twice.
biggest pet peeves when I see people talk about rookies breaking out. It's not a thing, guys. It's just not a thing. You can't break out in your rookie season. You have a great rookie season. Fantastic.
They have a great
What'd
debut.
you break out from? What'd you? Yeah, you could break out in the second half of a season. You could do that, but like I don't know.
Second half breakouts.
Whatever. The thing with Mac Jones, Patricia.
I got Meaney on a rant. He's a loser. Did you say that?
That's right. I said it. Patricia.
Oh my God. How best? Were you watching the Manning cast on Monday Night Football?
No. Did they call him a loser?
No. They showed a shirtless picture of him with a cigar because they were talking to Joe Burrow, and it was pretty much more unflattering than Tom Brady's combine picture. Like, seriously.
That's pretty
Joe Burrow even was like, they asked him about it, and Joe Burrow even chuckled. He was like, yeah, that's bad, man. Like,
man. I mean, that's what I feel about Mac Jones. You saw him freak out on the sidelines over, a couple weeks ago. They have one of the most expensive wide receiver rooms in the NFL. Can you believe that? Top 3 in the NFL. Who do they got? Parker, Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers. Like, these guys they're not.
You know what the problem is, Chris? They're not any good.
They're not any good. And the play calling is atrocious. They didn't fit. It was like a week before the season, and they didn't even know what they were going to do. Bill's like, yeah, we'll just figure it out. We'll put a defensive guy, call the plays, and we'll just figure it out.
Have they figured out what they wanted to do?
No, they haven't figured it out. And I would assume they get a new offensive coordinator next year. They have to.
Well, you said haven't. That's past tense. And I'm like, I don't know if they have. All right. So, continuing on. Yeah. So, Kansas City at Houston. God forbid you have to start anything with Houston. Easy answer is if Nico Collins plays, he's the only one. If Nico Collins is out, Nico Collins, Chris Moore. Yeah, I like Chris Moore. Chris Moore. Yeah, me too. If Chris Moore has 80 yards, he becomes the new leading wide receiver for the Houston Texans on the season. That's how bad it is.
It could be a flex for you. It could be a low-end wide receiver 3 for you this week if there's no Collins.
Here's the question with Kansas City. If Mecole Hardman comes back, does he go right back into your lineup?
I don't think I put him in there. I have him in a couple spots. Really like the way. I love that he was trending up in this offense just before they got Kadarius Toney, but I don't think I could play him with confidence this week. Apparently, it's not like he was getting a ton of volume. It's like some end around stuff. Okay. What'd you say?
I said apparently I was praying that whole time. Like I don't know why. I finished my question.
Just talk me into Mecole Hardman. If he says something good about Hardman, I'm playing him.
I've been poo-pooing Mecole Hardman for a long time.
I know you have. Really. I know you have. I've been trying to make some.
I could buy in if Kadarius Toney doesn't get activated. So, Arizona at Denver. Is DeAndre Hopkins a top 20 wide receiver? Is he a start your stud?
No,
he's not.
I could see you benching Hopkins, but I still view him as a low-end wide receiver too. But you could be in one of those weird leagues where you just play 2 wide receivers.
I mean, you could have fallen into a lot. You could have made some trades.
Yeah, Christian Watson.
Like Hopkins was like a 10th round pick because everybody knew you had to wait the 6 games.
Yeah, you did. I actually got him at 20. So like I still view him as a stud. I mean, I'm starting Keenan Allen over. I'm starting both Charger guys.
No. Let me stay in this game real quick.
Okay.
By the way, just bench Marquise Brown.
Absolutely.
Well, the Cardinals are like, hey, let's take Marquise Brown and run 6-yard routes with what the flipping anyway. Sorry. Anyway, Cliff Kingsbury, get the hell out of the NFL. Yeah. Anyway, real quick. By the way, go look at the talent he had in college and that he only won a little bit with anyway. Let me go to the other side of the football. Let's say there's no Courtland Sutton. Jerry Jeudy or DeAndre Hopkins?
Jerry Jeudy, because I like the matchup better. Even with Brett Rippon. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's really risky, but the way that I view it is I think the secondary in Denver is pretty legit. Both quarterbacks are obviously not great, but I think maybe a better matchup there for Jerry Jeudy. I still feel like both of these guys you can start. Yeah.
Okay. Next game.
Man. Defense is good.
Patriots at Raiders. We cover the Patriots on the waiver show. There's a lot. We just have to wait. It's Wednesday. We have to see what the status is of Stevenson, Harris. What that depends for the others. Waterfall effect. All this stuff. Just wait for that. You don't have to start your lineup. You don't have to set your lineups today. Plenty of time. Raiders, easy as pie. There's like 3 people. Very simple.
Yep.
Moving on from them. Tennessee, very simple too. There's 1 dude. Maybe 2 if Treylon Burks comes back. I would start Treylon Burks if he came back, but that's up in the air. Westbrook Akina would be a deep, like a 14-teamer. He was a dart throw last week. I liked him. That's play. Charger side, very simple as well. You know who to start there. Moving on. Next game. See, this is why this gets really simple once we get down to this a little bit. Because Cincinnati, Joe Mixon, this is where the question comes into. We talked about it on Monday. I don't know how Zach Taylor and the Bengals haven't been fined. What the flipping hell did they pull off that they didn't know? Like, the NFL, really? And nobody's coming for them? If T. Higgins limited, because if he gets a full practice in, your answer's there. T. Higgins limited on Friday. Do you wait? Not playing. Is it as simple as that? You can't risk it. It's a 4:00 game, too.
I know. I can't. It's twice now. This has happened twice now. I don't know the first time if it wasn't reported, but do you remember the game? Was it last year with T. Higgins?
This is like
he put up a 0. Like everyone's like, "Where's T. Higgins?" This is like nothing is reported on T. Higgins. I'm not playing him. I've already have him on my bench in one of my matchups. I'm playing Donovan Peoples-Jones over him. I'm not even going to think about it.
Oh, good
if
for
this guy
you.
gets in a full practice on Thursday and Friday.
I'm on the bench in my consolation bracket in one league.
I just don't think you can risk it. I know he's a stud. He's awesome, but it's twice now, to your point. With Taylor, I just no chance, man. And Taylor, I saw the article from Paul Danier Jr. over at The Athletic, your colleague. I love Paul. He's fantastic. I think he's a great reporter. He said that it was Zach Taylor's decision. Zach Taylor decided to make that call himself. I totally understand it. They have Super Bowl aspirations. They're not going to risk. Jamard's been out for a while. You mentioned Tyler Boyd. Looks like he's going to be out. If I was Zach Taylor, I would not be risking T. Higgins right now. Looks like they're going to get a playoff spot. The division is up for grabs. I understand all of that. But you don't want to lose T. Higgins for a playoff run because you're playing him week 14 or 15. So I'm not playing him either.
Okay. So on the Tampa Bay side, we already covered Mike Evans and that you go for the home run play there. We covered Rashad White. We covered Leonard Fournette, so you can go back earlier into the show and check that out. The question is, Tom Brady, how far down the list is he? Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
I'll probably go Brady. But I have neck and neck. I got him side and side, 15 and 16.
I think at this point, Tom Brady is now in the Jared Goff, but not outdoor situation, but he's in that Jared Goff of like, does he have a 3 touchdown game this year? I don't know that he does. Like
probably doesn't know.
Boom or bust. But been a lot more, if you call 1 touchdown bust, been a lot more than that. Giants.
He needs to get 2 to be good because he doesn't run, right? He needs to have he needs to score for 2 touchdowns, yeah.
If Saquon Barkley,
this is what everyone's waiting for.
I know. If Saquon Barkley goes through what he just did last week, neck injury, questionable. Saturday, questionable. It's an island game. It's Sunday Night Football, everybody. You have one backup plan in place. Cam Akers versus Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. It's going against Washington. Do you risk Saquon Barkley for your playoffs, knowing what Barkley can be? But again, just 2 weeks ago, faced this team. Okay, performance. Not great, but do you hinge your playoff line on a non-100% Saquon Barkley, especially with how this team has looked? It's been very predictable, facing a lot tougher defenses in the second half.
I got Saquon Barkley ranked at RB 17.
Because of the risk factor, or because of the
risk, because of the injury mostly. Because I do, even though it's a tough matchup and he has had some tough matchups and he hasn't looked great, what we talked about before, the upside of this player, a guy that's been an RB1 or RB2 for the first 10 weeks of the season. He was an MVP. Mm-hmm. He's most likely gotten you here to the playoffs. So you have to make this decision. I'm sure this is the biggest question everybody has this week about Saquon Barkley. Do you start Knight over him? Do you start Pacheco over him? Do you get too cute to start any of these guys? I think you can too. Because of the matchup, right? I mean, they're double-digit favorites here.
Well,
good matchup against the Texans.
Since Barkley put up 110 on Jacksonville in Week 7, I'm going to give you the yards per carry, which I'm one of the people who sit here and say yards per carry don't tell you the whole story. But this still is telling. 2.7 against Seattle, 4.3 against Houston. Huge game. That was his second biggest game of the year. Yeah, second biggest since Week 1. Then Detroit 1.5, Dallas 3.5, Washington 3.5, Philly 3.1. He got saved by a touchdown in weeks 12 and 13. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't score, and he's not 100%,
like 8 points.
God, I can't imagine watching Barkley sit on my bench. But look, I'm not benching Barkley for Chuba Hubbard. But,
right, or any of the Houston backs, or any of the...
No.
You're not. No, you're not.
But with everybody on the table, I think, yeah. All right, so on the other side, we talked about Taylor Heineke, Terry McLaurin. We know he's a lock, especially against this Giants secondary, where there's no pieces left. Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson starting him up. Jahan Dotson, I think, is a flyer. Let's get to the last game as we get out of here. Cam Akers, you can start him. I know. Can't believe we're doing this. Cam Akers, man. Championship. Would you do Cam Akers or Saquon Barkley? Serious question.
Barkley. I know it is. I would do Saquon Barkley. Barkley. Hope he gets a couple catches. It really is about the health. Man, what I know you saw it against the Eagles. Like Brightwell and Breida and Saquon, these guys basically had similar amount of touches in the first quarter. So it's rough. But I would take the upside in Saquon. Good luck out there. I know people have a lot of Saquon questions. I hope
would you start Skowronek?
No.
Okay.
I maybe start Tutu.
Skoranek. I said Skoranek. Skoranek.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I didn't even
on
know
the
who
Green
hell
Bay
you just
side,
said. I'm like, no, let's start that guy.
Aaron Jones. Last question before we get out of here. Christian Watson has been a beast.
Yeah.
The return of Romeo Dobbs. Is the pecking order Watson, Lazard, Dobbs? And does Watson go from top 15 wide receiver to around 20 where I have him? That's why I'm asking. And would you start? Here's the last one as we get out of here. Michael Pittman or Christian Watson?
Watson. Slightly
against
ahead
Minnesota?
of Pittman. Yeah,
Watson
they're
with
both
those-
good. I think they're both good starts. I think I do believe Watson has a higher ceiling. I got him ranked slightly higher, but I would start Pittman too against the Vikings. I think they're both really good plays. Would not start Dubs. I agree with you. Watson, Lazard, Dubs. Kind of rank them like that.
All right. We went a little bit over, but we want to get you everything as the first week of the playoffs start. Follow Chris Meaney over at FTN. Code all in 20% off. The Athletic, $2 a month still. Magical.
Steal.
Don't drop a chat in here. $5. Spend it on the Athletic. Or at FTN, everywhere. We got you covered. And we'll be back on Monday, hopefully, to celebrate another round of playoffs. Or just some fun. Just for you guys. Play playoff only things. Continue to play. We'll see you later. I can't talk.
Peace.